I was not expected to live more than a few years. Grace Anne Dorney Koppel, wife of Ted Koppel, on L. If people invited me to go for a walk, I'd say, I have work to finish, she tells Yahoo Lifestyle. She also noted, Grace Anne always saw her doctor for annual physicals, but, in 2001, she made an appointment early because she wasn't able to walk the equivalent of a city block without stopping to catch her breath. Her doctor gave her, she was on vacation when her symptoms grew even worse. As soon as she reached, COPD is an acronym for chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, a chronic and progressive lung disease that causes shortness of breath, wheezing, frequent coughing, and chest tightness, according to they. When Grace Anne was diagnosed, she had just 26% of normal lung function. I was not after receiving the diagnosis, Grace Anne and her husband, former Nightline anchor Ted Koppel, quite literally held each other all night long, crying, he shares with Yahoo Lifestyle. Grace Anne was put through more testing and needed to use a wheelchair to get around because the hospital was so large. I could not make it. She was prescribed pulmonary rehabilitation, along with several inhalers and the corticosteroid prednisone, which is designed to treat inflammation. I was in really bad. In 2005, Grace Anne was on supplemental oxygen 24/7 and was diagnosed with. Doctors removed. Still, she managed to regain her strength and cut way down on her supplemental oxygen use. Now, Grace Anne believes that her former smoking habit led to her disease. I was a heavy smoker. Now, Grace Anne and Ted are passionate about raising COPD awareness. They created the. Grace Anne is also on the board of directors for the Anne is its immediate past president. This is a disease that, adds Grace Anne, COPD is a very significant health problem. If you have a constant
raindrop, drop top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.